Good evening, it's Namjoti with Blue Cypress Botanicals. We're here in the garden and let's look and see what's going on for the month of June 2026 before the sun sets. Here's a quick overview of the garden and how it's looking right now. Let's begin right over here. My shadow is in the shot, but that's okay. So here's our bed of comfrey. The comfrey has already had its first flowering, so I'm getting ready to cut this back and make some comfrey tea compost out of this comfrey. And you can hear how the leaves are really scratchy and coarse. This here is a bitter melon, that dragon's egg, the Okinawa white bitter melon. I'm really excited to see those start to fruit. The sweet Francis rose has stopped blooming, but it's still getting some little buds on it, so it's going to have more flowers soon. But it was blooming every day for a while there in the spring, and now it's kind of tapered off and slowed down. Down here we've got oregano and rosemary that are doing well, and the spearmint is really starting to, ow, that's the thorns on the rose, to stand up and kind of spread out as spearmint does. This is a variety of marigold now that they're starting to flower. Never seen these kind of marigolds before, but I really love the way they look. They kind of look like firecrackers to me. The canna is going to seed. It had a lot of flowers earlier in the spring. And this giant Columbine, come to find out, it's not going to bloom until the fall, so I have a ways to go. I'm leading an indigo workshop tomorrow, and so I'm happy to have some fresh indigo leaves to take with me. That's Persicaria tinctoria, or Japanese indigo. Here's the gourd, which I have decided is a swan neck gourd, because look at these calabashes. Look at how beautiful these are. But I came and planted some that were called swan neck, the swan neck variety, and they look just like this with the speckles. And then this, I think, might even start to kind of curve as it grows to look like a swan and a swan's neck. Down here in the shade of the gourds, we have some zinnias, some basil over here, little tomato bush marigolds, more basil, more zinnia. And the zinnias are starting to put on their flower buds. They're putting on the little flower buds. That wasn't very well in shot. Here's a better shot of the zinnia flower buds and what they look like before they flower. The calendula has tapered off a bit from its flowering stage. It's still producing flowers, but just not as many every day. We've been having a really rainy spring, and I think that's been great for the garden, but things are tapering off a bit as we're getting less rain. Marigolds are blooming. Let's see. Over here, everybody's looking really happy in this bed. The Clary Sage, marigolds, some, these are all sunflowers that I planted and then forgot about, and then they really just started taking off here recently. So the sunflowers are looking really beautiful. Here's some beans climbing the trellis, more sunflowers, marigolds. This one's getting really big, that sunflower. Let's come around to these other beds. More zinnias and cannas. And then you can really see how the cowpea beans are starting to take off, the black-eyed peas. Something's been eating them. I wish I could show you the little bugs that have been on them. I don't see any of, oh, here's one. Let's see if we can get this little guy on camera. He's got like a stripe and they just like fly away really quickly. If you know what that bug is, let me know. I'm surprised we were actually able to get him on video like that. This canna has gone to seed as well. The Mystic Spire Sage has been blooming, as well as the Foxglove is kind of ending its bloom. The Strawflowers haven't bloomed quite yet. And then you can see this passion vine is really starting to take off, climbing up the fence. Here's more of the same marigolds, turmeric. The nettles, I'm just going to let go to seed because there's not very many of them. I don't know if I'm going to do anything with those this year. More turmeric. Those onions have fallen over and I really need to separate them. The experimental flower bed is doing really well. I really love the way that the marigolds have just taken over this bed. A lot of them are blooming, and there's a really tall mugwort in there, right over there. The cayennetta peppers are all getting red. So I'm thinking about making like a hot honey with those because they are very spicy. At first I thought they were going to be sweet, but only the first one or two were sweet. The rest have been very spicy. More comfrey that I'll be composting. One very sad tomato. This tomato plant, I think I pruned it back too hard in the beginning of the spring, and it's had a hard time recovering. But I realized I'm not growing a lot of vegetables in my garden, probably because I have access to really good organic produce from a local farm, and I don't feel as pressed to grow my own produce. So I'm growing mostly herbs and flowers in my garden. Like this mugwort, good herb. This bed has gone pretty dormant because it doesn't get a lot of sunlight, but it does have a gourd growing out of it that flowered the other day. And then in this bed, I transplanted some bee balm that hasn't really taken off yet, and some run-of-the-mill garden sage that's just getting established as well. And that's basically it for our garden overview today. It's short and sweet and to the point. Things are growing well, but not too much has changed other than everything's getting bigger and producing more. But I'm really happy with the garden this year. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in July.